Okay, here we go.
Today we're going to find out who is this year's Terrain Square champion. It's coming right up. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, today we are going to find out who is this year's Terrain Square champion. I've had a lot of awesome entries, 24 entries in total, and I can tell you this year's competition was very hard to judge. Now, I run this competition every year, so if you get inspired by today's video, mark the date in your diaries for next year. That's going to be March the 1st, 2020. And if you want to keep up to date with the Wonders of Warhammer 40k, then please subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss an upload. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who entered the competition. I really hope you enjoyed making your pieces of terrain. That's exactly what the competition is all about. A lot of people don't actually know that side of the hobby, and I know that I've inspired quite a number of people to make their first pieces of terrain, and that is absolutely awesome. Making terrain is a lot of fun, and if you haven't done so already, I would seriously suggest you have a go. Oh, bloody bin man now. La 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 la. Come on. Yeah, it's going to be another 5 minutes, isn't it? Now, this year we had 24 entries. Now, of course, I can't mention everyone in this video. However, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everyone who did make a piece of terrain. I took my time judging the pieces of terrain, and I came up with a top 10 list. That was hard in itself, and I had to narrow that down to a top 5 and then ultimately a top 3. Now, as always with this competition, the judging is done on my personal preference. I do take things into consideration, like how the piece was made, how much effort and time was put into the piece, the final results of the piece, and also the painting of the piece. Now, I've always said it's not necessarily the best pieces of terrain that win, just my personal preference, so bear that in mind. I like to give everyone an equal opportunity when it comes to making pieces of terrain. We even had an entry from a legally blind person this year, which is just awesome. Right, like I said, I've got a top 10 list. Before I go through the list though, I want to do some honourable mentions. Now, I can't mention everyone in this video, so I picked 6 people just to have a look at their work. Now, if you want to see all of the pieces that were entered into the competition, there's a link to the playlist with all of those videos in the description below, so make sure you check that out. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the pieces that didn't quite make it into the top 10. Okay, so the first one is a squig cell board by the Matthew Day. I really love this piece, it's very inventive. I like how it's pretty small but also blocks line of sight. I like the barricade idea and how he's put it onto the little base. You can hide a couple of guys in there, which is really cool. So a great job, Matthew, on that one. The next one is by a Lost Fire Hunter, and he did a very cool Necron fortress. We did have a lot of Necron entries to the competition, and I have to say I tried my best to not let the Necron theme influence me in my decisions, but I really did love this piece. It's all made from MDF. When he displays his armies in the fortress, it looks super cool. So a great job on that piece of terrain. Next we have 7 pieces of terrain by Red Green 09. He called it his MMXIX. So one of the main pieces is a pipe section, and he put a very nice little twist on the pieces where you could have a billboard, and on the billboard you could have a poster of either myself or Necron Girl. A very nice touch. And I have to say, Red Green, you have improved a lot with your pieces of terrain. I know you've been entering the competition for many years now, and I have to say I think this is probably your best entry so far, so well done on your pieces. Right, next is a piece by Silent Mind. This is a Lost Necron Gate. Now this is a very big line of sight blocking piece of terrain. I can imagine this really changing the game of 40k up. What I really like about it is how you've done the gate, which goes up and down, really changing the dynamics of the piece. So well done on that. Now next is an entry by Brush and Quill. Now I love this because it's something totally different. This is a Napoleonics entry, and he's done a washing line, a fence and an outhouse, i.e. a toilet, and it looks really cool. All three pieces are very well done, and definitely for that particular game would block line of sight. So a great entry, well done to Brush and Quill. Now finally on the honourable mentions is the Mystic Tome, and he's done a Gothic chapel. Now I love this piece because he's used some artwork to inspire him to make the piece of terrain, and the end result looks fantastic. You can just imagine this being on the artwork itself. A fantastic job, really well done. Okay, so let's get on with the top 10 entries, and first of all, in 10th place we have Sir Death Vids with his Castle on the Hill. Now Sir Death's Vids have entered my terrain contest many times and he's always done a great job. However, I think this is his best piece to date. Lots of great detailing on it. It looks very well done, very realistic, and I like how he's done some extra features on the terrain piece where he can change things up on the base. He's even got a dead orc on there. I was very happy to see there wasn't a dead Necron. Well done to you, 10th position, and well deserved. Okay, so in 9th place is a fantastic piece of terrain by Zombie Dad. Now, Zombie Dad is legally blind, which makes this piece of terrain even more awesome. Now, Zombie Dad went all out on this project. He wanted to make a very big piece of terrain, something that blocks line of sight to a Titan, and he wanted a landing pad to go on the top. And wow, what an awesome job you did on this piece of terrain. I love the detailing that you put into it as well. Really well done. You can see you put a lot of work into it, and I think you should be very proud of this piece of terrain.
Thank you so much, Nick. This has been a really great, exciting adventure for me, and you really inspired me to get out of my comfort zone and create something exciting for myself. Thank you very much.
Now isn't that awesome? That's exactly what this competition is about. So I'm really happy that you enjoyed your piece and you got inspired by it. So well done once again to you. Right, next up is in 8th position, and that is Castman. Now Castman made an Imperial power station, and what a great job he made of it. The main piece even has LEDs in it. It's a very interesting design concept. I've not seen anything like it before. And what I love about this piece, it looks very playable. If you had your men in that piece of terrain, you'd have to be quite careful not to leave anything exposed from certain areas, but it still does block line of sight. So a fantastic job, well done to you. Okay, so in 7th place we have Michael Smith. Now I have to say, Michael, you did a fantastic video. Actually, that video looks uncannily like somebody else's videos that I know. Let's take a quick look at his video.
Necrons! Hi guys, Mike speaking, and welcome to the video where I'll be showcasing you my entry to IDICBeer's 2019 Terrain Square competition. It's coming right up. Now I'd gathered together 2 Necron monoliths that were second hand and weren't going to be used by anyone.
Not familiar at all, is it? Anyway, let's have a look at the pieces of terrain that Michael did. Okay, so Michael did some monolith wreckages. So basically he took a couple of old monoliths and he made pieces of terrain from them. Some of them are just scatter pieces, but these pieces here are the line of sight blocking ones. He's broken them up into different sections and he's made some very cool pieces of terrain. So well done, Michael, to you. And my suggestion is you should definitely continue to make videos because I loved your video. Okay, so in 6th place is a piece by Mork Nork. Now this is quite an interesting piece. He's called it the Power Contraption. Now this is an orc based piece of terrain and it looks like the orcs have built it. It looks fantastic. He's made it from bits and pieces from around his house. He's got a lot of detailing on it as well. It's got some fun little in stories for some of the detailing. It definitely blocks line of sight and it definitely looks awesome. A very creative piece of terrain, so well done to you. Now I'm sure you can agree all of the pieces of terrain that you've seen so far are fantastic. You can imagine how hard this competition was to judge. However, we are now on our top 5 pieces and in 5th place is a piece by Dungeon of Doom. Now Dungeon of Doom enters the competition every year and he always does a fantastic piece of terrain, and this year is no different. He did a small castle. Now this is a fantasy based castle and as you can see in front of you it just looks fantastic. He's done a lot of detailing to it as he always does. We've got the little ladder there on the side, and looking back at some of his early videos of how he made this piece of terrain is really awesome just to see how he made it pretty much from nothing. Those roofs, for example, are just made from corrugated cardboard. So a fantastic job, well deserved a 5th place. You really did a great piece this year. Right, I'm sure you can agree all the pieces so far have been fantastic. However, we're now moving into the top 4 pieces, and in 4th place is Tom Van Eyck. Okay, so Tom did a Gothic refinery. Now I've been watching the progress of this piece of terrain over on the Wargamers Unification Facebook group. It's got a very clever line of sight blocking concept with the 3 struts there. I can imagine units hiding behind there with other units maybe flying over the top of the wall to engage them. A very cool concept, very well executed. It looks incredible and it's very nicely painted, especially with the little lightning sections going down the middle there. So really great job, Tom. I love this piece of terrain. Okay, so we are now in our top 3 pieces of terrain, and this is where it got really tough. I have to say, any one of these top 3 pieces could have won the competition. That's how good and how tight the competition was. Now I had to make a decision, and it was a big decision because 1st and 2nd place will get prizes and 3rd place won't. It was a really tough choice. However, I had to make a choice and that's what I did. So let's have a look at 3rd place for this year's Terrain Square competition. Okay, so in 3rd place was Morkanok, and yes, this was a 2nd entry. He did 2 amazing pieces for this year's competition. This is a War Gate. It's basically an orc teleporter, and wow, this looks awesome. And once again, this is just made from bits and pieces around the house. I totally love this piece. It was a very early entry in the competition, and I have to say, when I saw it for the first time, I thought this is going to be hard to beat. An amazing piece of terrain, so congratulations to you. Congratulations on both pieces of terrain that you put into the competition. Okay, so that was 3rd place, and we're now on to the prize position. So in 2nd place, you're going to win 4 base readies and some glue from Luke's APS. Of course, there is a link to Luke's channel in the description below if you haven't heard of it. Highly unlikely, but you never know. If you haven't heard of his channel, then check it out below. It's an awesome terrain making channel. Right, let's have a look at 2nd place. Okay, so in 2nd place is this awesome Portal of Chaos by Dark Matter Workshop. I love this piece of terrain. It's very creative. It reminds me of an alien from Star Trek. The detailing that he's put into it is just totally awesome. When you look at it, you think, how did he make it? But he did actually make a how-to video on this piece of terrain as well. He's basically made it from polystyrene and PVA glue with some boards and some other bits and pieces, but his attention to detail is what really makes this piece of terrain look fantastic. I really love this piece of terrain. It looks fantastic, it looks very different, and I think it will be fantastic on the tabletop. Now, Dark Matter Workshop does some amazing videos on his channel, So check out his channel along with everyone else's channel. Like I said, just click on the link down below. That's the playlist for all of the videos, and you can check out all of the channels from there. Okay, so time to find out who is the winner, the champion of this year's Terrain Square competition. Now the winner will win a Start Collecting box set of their choice, and I will be sending that out to the winner as soon as I hear from them. So let's have a look and see exactly who has won this year's competition. Now the winner blew me away with his piece of terrain and his showcase video. The winner is Pavel Notarado with his Necron Tomb. I hope I pronounced that correct. His piece of terrain was awesome. I absolutely loved it. So without further ado, let's check out his winning piece of terrain.
IDICBeer from Siberia. Respect.
Okay, so there you go. Congratulations to Pavel. What an awesome piece of terrain he made. The board looks fantastic, and I love the Egyptian Necron fill that he's got going on with his table. So once again, congratulations. Let me know your address and what Start Collecting box set you would like, and I'll send it out to you. And if you're not subscribed yet, start now. Hit the IDICBeer icon if you want to see the pieces of terrain that I made for this year's terrain competition. Then check out that video there, and if you want to see something that YouTube thinks you would like, then check out that video just there. Beam me up.